Hello, and welcome to the commissioning chapter of the digital learning series FDV202 FireCatcher camera. In this chapter, we'll walk through the commissioning of the FDV202 FireCatcher camera. In order to protect the camera from unauthorized access, it is necessary to define a new password for the administrator. Additionally, the camera provides the option to define additional users with different access levels. 4 different roles and access levels are available. The root role, which is reserved for remote access from Irani. Please do not change the password. The administrator role, which has the highest access level without any restrictions. The operator role, which has the same access rights as the administrator, but without system rights. And the viewer role, which has the right video only. The password for administrator and operator are provided on a sticker on the camera. Once you have logged in as an administrator with the username administrator and the corresponding password, click on the System tab and select Users. Now you can change the default passwords of the administrator and/or operator and define new users with their user roles. Please note that the username cannot be changed. Confirm your settings with Save. The 2 settings below, allow anonymous viewers and allow anonymous PTZ operators, allow to access the device as a viewer without logging in with an account, and allow anonymous users to pan, tilt, and zoom the image. The next step is the license activation of the FireCatcher application. For this, the serial number of the camera and the license code, which you have received together with the camera, must be provided. Now, go to the Access registration page, register your email address, and follow the steps to register the license key. The link to the registration page is also provided in the section Documents and Links on the overview page of this e-learning. Now enter the serial number of the camera and select I have a license code. Enter the license code which you have received together with the camera and click on Generate. This will generate a file with the license key which you can download for further use. Once you have downloaded the license key, connect your computer to the camera again. Then click on Apps and the 3-dot button on the right. In the menu, choose Activate License with a key. As a result, you will see the license which has been registered and activated. Select now the downloaded license key or drag it into the field. As a result, you will see the license has been registered and activated. Let us now go over to the FireCatcher application. Start the application and please wait for approximately 1 to 2 minutes at the beginning to make sure the application can learn the environment. The FDV202 FireCatcher camera settings are pre-configured at the factory for optimal detection performance. Please change the settings only if this is required by environment specifications. The following information will give you an overview of the pre-settings. The settings for saturation, contrast, brightness, and sharpness shall be left at the value 50. The wide dynamic range WDR is recommended to be set to off to avoid artifacts. Change this value to on only if you do not have uniform lighting and artifacts. The tone mapping is preferably set to 30, but always less than or equal to 30. The light environment should always be set to automatic, and the IR cut filter should always be set to on. Let's go on with the next settings. For the exposure mode, the setting to automatic is mandatory. The setting for exposure zone is automatic. The maximum shutter is 1 to 15s, which is mandatory. The maximum gain is 24 dB, but it can be set to higher if needed. For the blur noise trade-off, the default setting is in the middle between low noise and low motion blur. In case of low light, please change towards low noise. The lock aperture must be left at on, which is mandatory, and the aperture level shall be set to the middle position. The exposure level shall be left at 50. The defog shall be left at off. Let's go on with more settings. The P-iris lens will be detected automatically. Please do not change this setting. The barrel distortion correction, BDC, shall also be left at off. For the electronic image stabilization, EIS, the default setting is off. Please only change it to on in case the camera is vibrating. And finally, the setting for the capture mode is 1080p at 25 to 30 FPS. In low light conditions, the image might not reach the required quality. In that case, please adjust it in the following order. The shutter time. A higher shutter time may cause more motion blur, but this does not affect the detection. The gain. A higher gain will cause more noise in the image, which may interfere with the detection algorithm. And finally, the tone mapping. A higher tone mapping will change the colors and will influence the flame detection. In the Overlay tab, you can create a status overlay which is displayed in the video stream. For this, select Overlay, and then choose one of the options Text, Image, or Video Streaming Indicator. Finally, click on the plus symbol. Let's start with the Text option. For this, select Text and choose the type size. If you select the Date and Time buttons, you will see the corresponding placeholders in the text field above. There are a lot of placeholders available which can be selected by using the Modifier button. For example, %F is the date, %X is the time, and #D is the status. The text overlay can be moved by using the mouse. We recommend to leave this setting at bottom left, because this area is ignored internally by the algorithm. One additional remark to the modifier #D. If your Access operating system is less than 11.2.16, the #D shows the overlay text status. If your Access operating system is higher or equal to 11.2.16, you have two options for the text status overlay. #D1 represents the overlay text status, and #D2 represents the overlay scene detail. Here are the different meanings for the available stati in the overlay. Operational signal means the camera is running. Fault signal means a light or image monitoring issue. Fire alarm means smoke or flame detected. Recalibrating means that the camera is learning the background. Stopped means that pan, tilt, or zoom is out of preset. Supervisory signal means that the detection is blocked due to movement detection or an external timeout for the computer-generated imagery. An overlay can also be created by using a customer-specific image. For this purpose, the required image needs to be uploaded. Choose Image from the list and press the plus button, press the Select button. Then select the image to be uploaded and click on Open. When the image has been selected, upload it to the image list of the camera. The last option for the overlay definition is the creation of a video streaming indicator. A pulsing heart, which is available in different colors and sizes, will be displayed as an indicator in the stream. For this, choose Streaming Indicator and press the plus button, Select. Then you need to define the color, size, and position. Finally, click on Create. A heart will be displayed as defined in the stream. Please note that the field of view is reduced by the video streaming indicator. So, we discourage this and the image overlay because it actually covers part of the image and can hide small or starting fires or leave them undetected. So, a stream with all configured overlay options may look like this. As already previously mentioned, please note that both the video streaming indicator and the image will reduce the field of view. And now, we will go over to the configuration of the FireCatcher application. For the configuration of the application, go to Apps and make sure the application is running. If it is not running yet, start the application and wait for approximately 30 seconds so that the application can learn the environment. Then, open the application. If you click on Open too early, you might see an empty screen with error messages. In that case, close the window and open the application again. The entry page of the FireCatcher application provides a general overview of the settings selected. The individual steps will be explained later in this video. Let's start with the visibility. Here you can switch between basic and advanced settings which are used for the image monitoring and the output settings. Overlay. This setting enables the bounding box image overlay in the stream. The settings Smoke Alarm shows the current settings for Smoke Alarm. Flame Alarm shows the current settings for Flame Alarm. The Cancel button reloads the settings from the camera, for example to undo changes. The Save button saves the settings to the camera, and the Default button resets the current settings to the default values. Test mode, switch to Fire Simulator, which is now integrated and not a separate app as it was in the previous version. If the overlay was enabled in the general settings, it will be displayed like this in the stream. Now we would like to show you how to configure Smoke Alarm. The following settings are available in basic mode. You can get information about the setting options by hovering the mouse over the corresponding text. Mouse over function, shown here using the example of Smoke Alarm delay. For the configuration of Flame Alarm, the following settings are available. Again, you can get information about the settings using the mouse over function. As next, we will show you the available settings for image monitoring and activity monitoring. Mouse over function gives you the necessary informations. Remark that the setting pause on timeout is new, compared to the previous version of the FireCatcher application. The last configuration step for the FireCatcher application is the configuration of outputs that can be connected to an FDV202 of the Fire panel. 4 outputs are available in total. The default values are indicated in red. Please note that output 3 is not freely configurable. It is always the output for fault. The low visibility warning, available setting at output 4, is new compared to the previous FireCatcher application. For the definition of the function for each output, use the pull-down menu on the right. When all settings have been done for smoke alarm, flame alarm, image monitoring, activity monitoring, and the outputs, these settings can be saved by pressing the Save button. Cancel undoes all executed changes, if not already saved in between. Default resets all settings back to the default values, if you have already saved. But beware, this resets all values. We have now reached the configuration of detection zones. In order to define a detection zone, create 1 or more polygons with up to 40 points. If no detection zone is configured, detection is active in the entire field of view. These are the key data for the detection zone. Multiple zones are possible. Zones can overlap. Up to 40 points. Zone has to be greater than 25% of the field of view. Refresh, that means update the image. Undo the last point. Clear all zones. Cancel. Load configuration from camera. Save configuration to camera. Left mouse click. Define point. And finally, the right mouse click to close the polygon. The commissioning process has almost been completed. The final step is to test whether the detection of flame and/or smoke will work as expected. Before you start testing, please ensure that the FireCatcher application is installed, configured, and running. The camera setup is finished and there is no active fault status. Please also observe the following safety instructions. That means comply with site safety guidelines. Wear personal protective equipment like gloves or eye protection. Apply demarcation materials like cones or safety ribbon to secure the test zone. Verify the availability of fire extinguishers. Inform the site responsible and/or obtain authorizations. And finally, deactivate existing smoke detectors if necessary. Compared to the previous version, the simulator is no longer available as a separate app, but is direct integrated into the FireCatcher application. The Fire Simulator app is pre-installed by default on the FireCatcher camera. This application can be used to test the correct functionality of the outputs connected to the Fire panel. It is accessed from the New Test Mode button on the Settings page. That way, it is also impossible to have both running in the same time and conflict. With the test mode, you can verify the correct I/O connectivity and alarm propagation. Force alarms for smoke and flame, as well as force the status of operational, fault, and supervisory signals. To stop the test mode, press Normal Operation. This table provides an overview of all possible settings together with their impact. In case the expected behavior is not shown on the Fire panel, which means that the outputs do not seem to work properly, please check either the cabling or have a look at the log files, which you can find in the tab Logs. The log files can be viewed directly, or they can also be downloaded to your computer. Use any editor, like Microsoft Word, WordPad, or Notepad++ to open the downloaded log files. In the log files, you can see exactly what was triggered as a simulation and how each output reacted. Let us now test the detection and have a look at the detection performance. For the correct testing of the detection, use the official test fires. The following test equipment for smoke can be used. Smoke pellets for minimum 24 square meters together with fireproof recipient and long nose lighter, and a smoke machine with liquid. Due to a large diversity of environments, it is not possible to guarantee detection rate thresholds. Use certified products if needed. Testing the detection of flames should be done by means of flame videos. These videos are available, for example, on YouTube. Please pay attention to the following aspects. The flame covers the full screen, the screen is set to maximum brightness, and the screen's position is perpendicular to the camera. As the final step of the installation and commissioning process, it is recommended to document all settings previously defined in a protocol. A template for this can be the Maintain as Built document. On the one hand, this can be used as a handover to the customer, but also as a reference for later inspection within the scope of maintenance work. Please also note that some countries have local regulations determining the level of documentation. This brings us to the end of the commissioning video. In the next part, we'll continue with the maintenance process. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next chapter of the FDV202 FireCatcher camera digital learning.